Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we embark on a gentle journey along the ancient Silk Road, a winding thread connecting distant lands through trade, culture, and serene daily rhythms. Imagine, if you will, a dawn bathed in soft, golden light, as it stretches across the arid lands of Central Asia. The air is still, laced with the faint aroma of spices stirring in the cool, crisp morning. Our merchant, let's call him Nasir, rises from humble quarters nestled beside his modest caravan. The soft sound of camels murmuring fills his ears, a soothing melody that signals the start of another day steeped in the subtle art of commerce. As he slips on his well-worn robe, the fabric whispers against his skin, a comforting reminder of countless journeys before him. The robe, dyed in hues of indigo and ochre, tells its own story, one of vibrant markets where artisans crafted their trade. The sun, just beginning to grace the earth, casts long shadows as he steps outside, the familiar crunch of gravel beneath his sandals grounding him in the present. Nasir approaches his camels, their gentle faces adorned with the sweet remains of yesterday's hay, and he feels the soft warmth radiating from their bodies, a quiet companionship that eases the weight of his selfish thoughts. He begins his daily preparations, adjusting the meticulously packed bundles of silks, spices, and precious gems, the treasures meant to entice eager customers in far-off lands. The silks shimmer like liquid moonlight, while the spices promise the comfort of 1,000 exotic meals. With a calm steadiness, he ties each parcel, the knots forming simple but secure bonds, much like the camaraderie he shares with other merchants on the road. Nasir smiles at the thought, for every journey he undertakes is shared with the stories of many, each voice a note in a grand symphony echoing through valley and mountain. Setting out, the caravan unfurls down the narrow paths. The landscape shifts almost imperceptibly, from arid steppes to lush valleys, the colors changing like a slow swirl in a painter's palette. Dust kicks up around their feet, causing the camels to grunt in mild annoyance. Nasir chuckles softly, imagining them pondering the virtues of a mud bath, perhaps yearning for a distant oasis more than the promise of silk. As the caravan moves forward, Nasir recalls the tales he has gathered over the years from fellow merchants. Some speak of the bandits lurking on the roads, a truth acknowledged with a nod but rarely spoken of in detail. He is often reminded how sneaking shadows carry stories that weave in and out of the bright fabric of day. But in the grand scheme of commerce, those tales of trouble are merely a blip on the horizon, a transient cloud passing across a midday sun. Eventually, after hours of steady travel, the caravan comes to a halt at a busy trading post, a bustling nexus where cultures collide and intertwine. The air fills with a cacophony of voices, a lively chatter that carries the distinct fragrance of incense, fruits, and, yes, the occasional less-than-pleasant odor drifting from nearby livestock. There is a charm in the chaos that greets him, the symphony of haggling merchants and eager buyers floating gently towards him like a dream beckoning for attention. As Nasir dismounts, he surveys the scene like an artist before a canvas. Rows of vibrantly colored textiles hang from wooden frames, their beauty rivaled only by the strike of sunlight reflecting off polished silverware. Fruit sellers beckon, their pitches rising and falling like melodies in a choir, while spice merchants proudly display their wares, spices meticulously arranged in earthenware pots, their rich fragrances mingling in the warm air. Instead of rushing into the thick of it, Nasir takes a moment to drink in the sights, feeling a sense of rootedness grow within him. He is part of something larger, an age-old tradition that spans generations, weaving stories not only with textiles but also with shared hopes, dreams, and laughter echoing like ripples in still water. He watches as a young boy juggles balls of wool, a crowd gathering to witness the spectacle, the simple joy stretching across faces like sunbeams. As the day unfolds, Nasir initiates his own transactions, moving through the marketplace with a gentle grace. He engages in conversations, exchanging not just goods, but tales, sharing the warmth of camaraderie and humanity through gestures and knowing smiles. Each bargain struck creates not just a personal gain. It fosters relationships built over the years, some resembling fragile threads, while others are durable ropes, strong enough to bear the weight of countless journeys. As the afternoon sun begins to dip toward the horizon, a soft golden hue envelopes the bustling scene. Nasir makes his way to a familiar stall adorned with fruits and sweet delicacies, where a stout woman serves honey-glazed pastries, treats smelling of baked oats and warmth, reminiscent of home. The love she pours into her cooking is palpable, and it draws him in like the promises of sunset. Over a shared laugh about the day's hardships, a particularly stubborn merchant and the inevitable weight of endless goods, he enjoys a moment of reprieve. The fragrant pastry melts in his mouth, sugary and warm, reminding him that life, too, is fleeting and sweet, slipping by like grains of sand through fidgeting fingers. As the sun sinks lower in the sky, the air turns cooler, brimming with the soft chill of impending evening. There is always a sense of peace that settles over the marketplace at dusk, moments when traders exchange parting blessings, wishing each other well. Prayers whispered amongst merchants echo quietly like the soft strum of a reed flute in the distance. In some ways, these closing moments date back to the very start of time, when trades were made not just in goods but in stories, emotions, and a constant search for connection. As the caravan reassembles, wrapping cloth around their treasures, of spices and textiles that now carry the weight of the day's stories, Nasir sinks into a state of gratitude. He often muses on how he can carry both the burdens of goods and the lightness of moments, an endless cycle blending the tangible with the ephemeral. They find shelter for the night in a tranquil clearing by a gentle stream, its soft murmur like a lullaby. Nasir prepares to settle down, feeling the comforting touch of his familiar, worn bedroll beneath him. The stars begin to twinkle, speckling the darkening sky, stories of ancestors encircled by their luminous glow. He closes his eyes, breathing deeply the soothing scent of earth and water, the symphony of nature washing over him like a comforting blanket. In this peaceful cocoon, he reflects on the day, an amalgam of commerce and connection. Each transaction is a thread reinforced by trust, an unspoken promise that both sides will flourish through their offerings. He smiles in contentment, underlining the familiarity of his existence. As his thoughts slow and the day's weight fades, he is reminded of those he has met along the way, each one a thread weaving into the fabric of his life. In a few hours, as dawn breaks again, he will rise, unroll his bed, and set out to traverse the paths woven by echoes of voices long past. As he succumbs to the pull of sleep, he imagines himself in a world without the conveniences of today, where the softest bed has yet to be invented. When next you genuinely enjoy the luxury of a warm, inviting blanket, remember our friend Nasir, and how he would enthuse at the comfort of such a marvel. Sleep now gently, dear listener, as night envelopes you, and cherish the simplicity of resting in a world made easier with modern wonders like electricity, hot water, and sufficient pillows. If Nasir could only know of the comforting embrace of a well-made bed, he would undoubtedly chuckle at our present-day trials. Now let us wander through another day in the life of our intrepid merchant. A day fraught with both challenges and peace as he returns to the winding paths. The morning sun peeks through the canvas of the caravan, coaxing him from his gentle slumber. Once more, he steps into the world, reminding himself that he carries within him stories that reach across the ages, binding him to every life he touches along the Silk Road. With the aroma of fresh baked bread wafting through the air, inviting him to share breakfast with fellow travelers, Nasir chuckles softly. A simple meal shared with friends is more rewarding than the finest silk. He savors each morsel, the texture enveloping his senses, reminding him of the abundance life generously provides. As they eat, laughter dances between them, mingling with the sound of birds chirping high above in the nearby trees. Such moments are precious, he thinks, grounding sails adrift upon the sea of commerce. Once his appetite is satisfied, he embraces the embrace of companionship long enough to commit to memory, lingering in the warmth of shared experience. With the last of the sun's rays peeking over the horizon, the caravan prepares to move again, gathering belongings, checking the inventory of goods, a dance he knows by heart. In every tie and every weight sorted, comfort builds anew, logistics is their silent partner in this journey. Stepping past the threshold of friendly banter, Nasir helps usher the camels into formation. There is a serene rhythm to this world, a slow yet purposeful pace that commands attention without demanding it. The sound of hooves and the quiet clatter of goods merging into a single melody lulls his. The merchant, after a simple yet hearty breakfast of millet porridge, would gather his wares. Silk from China, spices from the distant climes of India, glassware from Persia, and perhaps a few fine, hand-woven textiles. The preparation was meticulous, yet somewhat rhythmical, much like breathing itself. Each item held not only tangible value but also stories and dreams of the people who crafted them. As he ladened his camel, carefully balancing the heavy packages with the skill learned from years of practice, he felt the familiar weight of anticipation settling on him. The sun began to claw its way over the horizon, casting a pale golden hue over the encampment. Shadows stretched long across the sand, eager to embrace the fleeting moments before the sun reigned supreme, just as eager were the merchants to embark on their daily journeys. The cadence of life along the Silk Road was marked by the gentle rustle of fabric, the soft clopping of camel hooves on ancient pathways, and the distant hum of gossip between travelers. Each step taken along the road was laced with an unspoken camaraderie. Merchants greeted one another with nods and perfunctory smiles, a mutual understanding pulsing gently in the air like the early morning breeze, cool and inviting. As he set off, the merchant relished the mundane sounds of the day. He tuned into the soft creaking of the saddle and the crunch of gravel beneath the camels. Each journey was an echo of those traveled before, tales of weary feet finding solace at makeshift inns sprinkled throughout the route. The hospitality found at these inns was akin to being wrapped in a well-loved quilt. It was a warmth that would smooth the edges of a grueling journey, filled with stories shared over bubbling pots of stew. The air would fill with laughter, the rich aromas of spices wafting around, blending with the earthy scent of camels and the dim light of oil lamps. Here, bonds were formed, though fleeting, as merchants readied for the next leg of their long, winding journeys. While on the road, the merchant was at one with the landscape. The toasty sun overhead blessed the endless stretch of yellow dunes, broken occasionally by patches of green. He would pause now and then, exchanging pleasantries with a local farmer or simply gazing at the horizon where sand met sky. To think of how life existed in harmony within these vast expanses was a whimsical thought, the farmer coaxing vegetables from unwilling soil while he, in contrast, coaxed treasure from the far reaches of the world. And let us pause for just a moment to appreciate the exquisite brevity of lunchtime. This meal was often filled with simple breads and dried fruits tucked away from early morning preparations. Perhaps as he sat beneath a solitary tree, feeling its shade envelop him like a nurturing hug, he chewed slowly, tasting life's richness in a mouthful. The conversation of birds fluttered above, and the soft breeze danced around him, as if nature itself admired the adventurous soul who traversed this ancient road. After feeding the body, the merchant would nudge his camel to continue on. Perhaps there was a market on the horizon, echoing with the distant sounds of bartering voices and the occasional cloying smell of fresh-sold fish, which certainly wasn't everyone's favorite. Arriving at bustling markets was always a thrill of sorts, a paradox of chaos and order beautifully intertwined. The merchant often marveled at the vibrant displays of wares. Here, tumbling piles of spices created rolling hills of colors, deep saffron yellow, rich paprika reds, and the subtle earthy tones of cumin and coriander. His heart raced not with the thrill of sales but with appreciation for the artisans who toiled to create such delightful bounty. As haggling ensued, he listened to negotiations, the dialect of trade punctuated with laughter and the odd exclamation. There were days, however, when the shadows of anxiety brushed against him. The thought of bandits loomed in the backdrop like unwelcome thunderclouds threatening a cherished picnic. Such thoughts could sit heavy in the belly but were often pushed aside by the larger rhythm of life. This anticipation trained him to be keenly aware, to scan the horizon for both danger and opportunity. Returning to the open road, he would resume his slow cadence, adjusting to the sunlight melting into gold across the evening sky. As day melted into dusk, the merchant often sought a place to unburden his load. The sight of an oasis was always a welcome one, a pocket of life amidst the ever-shifting sands. Palm trees swayed, whispering soft secrets, as he drew water for both himself and his camel, feeling invigorated by the cool splash across his sun-kissed skin. Late hours where flames flickered in the night cast shimmering shadows on the canvas of the stars above. As he sat by the fire, sharing bread and attention with his fellow travelers, stories were exchanged like currency. Each tale spun was a thread stitched into the vibrant tapestry of their journeys. Laughter would erupt, sometimes over exaggerated tales of their exploits, or the occasional sharing of unusual happenings that transcended mere trade. Human connection thrived amidst the mundane yet profound routine of life along the Silk Road. Whether trading goods or stories, there was an acknowledgement of shared struggles. A knowing smile would float across the air, a silent pact that the burdens of traveling were lighter when shared with others. As the fire dimmed, the silk merchant would make camp for the night, wrapping himself in soft furs. The stars twinkled like distant lanterns, illuminating the skies with dreamy possibilities. Sleep would drift over him like a gentle fog, lulling him into slumber amidst the chorus of crickets singing their nightly serenade. Fast forward to the dawn of a new day, the merchant would wake to the birdsong filtering through the early morning light. The sun, like an energetic child, would peek over the horizon once again, stretching its rays to beckon him up. Each sunrise offered a refreshing promise, the warmth dissipating remnants of dreams against his skin. After a morning ritual, a moment to appreciate the colors of nature, the merchant would pack his goods, reiterating the process that had become second nature. With every bundle secured, the familiar weight returned. He understood, in a way, that each item he carried was woven into a larger story, contributing to an eloquent narrative transcending the tangible. The journey resumed, as always. There was a certain routine to the rhythm of life that echoed in the footsteps of all who traveled this ancient path. The merchant often reflected on the lands he crossed, each one leaving its imprint in the sands of his memory. With every pause, every exchange, he learned something new about the people he encountered and the goods they sought. In moments of solitude, the merchant would observe the landscape, each stone holding echoes of whispered history. There were tales of empires that rose and fell, fortunes built and lost, all intertwined and ensconced within the fibers of silk and spice that he carried. With meticulous care, he crafted his identity not as merely a trader, but also as a vessel of stories. As he settled for another night's camp, perhaps at the foot of a gentle hill or alongside a sputtering stream, he would prepare for sleep, remembering the joys shared along the road. Each person he encountered contributed to the broader narrative of humanity itself, a reminder that no journey was taken alone. And while the everyday life of a merchant could unravel like the threads of a once-absorbed tapestry, the joys, and sometimes trials, of exchanging goods and stories became the comforting fabric upon which his life was woven. As he nestled under the stars again, thoughts of how the rhythm of the Silk Road mirrored the modern day intertwined gently in his mind. Trade still thrived in the streets of bustling cities, filling shelves with treasures from far-flung lands, albeit with less dust and fewer camels. When you settle into your bed tonight, remember that you are nestled in history, wrapped in the comforts of indoor heating and the marvels of modern convenience. How fantastically lucky you are to be gently rocked to sleep beneath the vast expanse of a ceiling rather than an open sky, far from the perils of the Silk Road. In reflecting on the simplicity of a merchant's day, you might find a warm comfort in the notion that every trader, whether of silk or stories, carried the weight of life itself. And as the sun slipped into sleep behind the horizon once more, it reminded all, even the ancient travelers, that rest was essential, perhaps for the dreams that waited on the other side. As the first light of dawn broke over the undulating hills, the merchant stirred from his slumber, the cool morning air wrapping around him like a silken embrace. The day ahead promised an array of encounters, each one a thread that would weave through the fabric of his journey. Rising slowly, he glanced around at the quiet camp, taking in the subtle sounds of nature awakening. The gentle rustle of leaves stirred by a soft breeze, the distant chorus of birds greeting the day with unhurried cheer, all harmonized into a soothing symphony. The merchant prepared his morning meal, a simple affair of dried fruits and coarse bread, washed down with cool, refreshing water gathered from the stream nearby. As he chewed, he took note of his surroundings. The grass, kissed by dew, glistened in the early light, while the rugged rocks, remnants of ancient geological tales, sat patiently, holding secrets of millennia. These small observations fueled his appreciation for the world, an appreciation that would later find voice in tales shared during long nights by the fire. With food consumed and his meager possessions gathered, he began the meticulous task of packing his wares. Silk, that exquisite treasure, shimmered in shades of vivid crimson and soft gold. Spices like saffron, cardamom, and cinnamon, each with their unique fragrance, danced together in small, tightly sealed pouches, their scents inviting an array of culinary fantasies in the minds of those who would one day savor them. Carefully tying up the bundles, he made sure everything was secure, each knot a promise that today would be just as fruitful as the day before. Upon setting out, the merchant joined a well-worn path, a ribbon of earth traversed by countless others seeking fortune, friendship, and new horizons. The rhythm of his pace became a meditative drumbeat, each step echoing the generations before him. Travelers crossed paths with surprising frequency, sometimes forming fleeting partnerships in the dance of commerce, their lives briefly intertwined over a shared meal or a story traded like currency. In time, a fellow traveler approached, an artisan carrying exquisite pottery. The two men exchanged greetings, voices low and cordial, as if conscious that the very act of speaking could disrupt the tranquil harmony of the surrounding landscape. They sat for a moment in the shade of a gnarled tree, its branches heavy with the promise of fruit, and they shared tales of their journeys. The artisan spoke of his latest pieces, clay from distant riverbanks molded into elegant shapes, adorned with patterns that told of the earth and sky. The merchant listened, entranced, visualizing the beautifully crafted objects finding new homes, admired by those who valued both utility and beauty. They parted with an exchange of small goods, a pouch of spices for a beautifully glazed bowl. The merchant marveled at the craftsmanship, which would not only serve a practical purpose but also be a conversation piece, a slice of art that could carry stories of its own. With the sun risen high above, its warm rays enveloping him in a gentle embrace, the merchant felt the days unfolding like a vast scroll filled with promise. As he wandered onward, the landscape transformed subtly. Hills morphed into vast plains dotted with blooming wildflowers, and the call of distant marketplaces beckoned him forward. The merchant thought not only of his wares but of the quizzical faces he would soon encounter. Each stop along the Silk Road was a tapestry of lives intersecting. Each vendor, from far and near, added his colors, his stories, to the grand mural of trade. Upon reaching a bustling bazaar, the sounds of life swelled to meet him, laughter, bartering, and the melodic calls of merchants hawking their wares blended into a vibrant cacophony. Here, the air was thick with the mingled fragrances of spices, fruits, and leather. Stalls burst forth with brightly colored textiles, each piece bursting with its own narrative waiting to be shared. The merchant smiled lightly at the fervor around him, aware that within this whirlwind of trade lay the calm assurance that behind every transaction was a tale, a connection. He set up his own modest display, arranging the silk in alluring folds, each piece reflecting the light like water dancing across the surface of a still lake. Nearby, a vendor with an eye-catching array of amber beads shouted out the qualities of his wares, drawing prospective buyers nearer. The merchant admired the vendor's enthusiasm, noting that even within the din, there was an unspoken camaraderie, a shared understanding of the pursuit of trade. As dusk began to settle, a gentle amber glow enveloped the bazaar, casting soft shadows that stretched lazily across the ground. The merchant felt a sense of accomplishment as he exchanged silk for a bounty of gold coins, each one a token of labor and stories past. In this moment, he found solace in the satisfaction of a day well spent, a quiet reminder of the timeless rhythm of human connection. As he journeyed toward a safe resting place for the night, he carried with him the essence of the day, a mixture of laughter, goods exchanged, and stories woven from the fibers of human experience. The stars twinkled in anticipation overhead, and the merchant couldn't help but smile, thinking of how these moments were akin to the simple joys of life he enjoyed back home, albeit perhaps a tad romanticized, without the countless miles of travel. Settling in for the night, he prepared a simple meal yet again, a modest offering, to be sure, but rich in flavor. The memories of the day's transactions and newfound friendships wrapped around him like a blanket, lulling him into a sense of security and comfort. As the moon rose higher in the sky, bathing the landscape in a silvery glow, the merchant reflected on the simple pleasures of sharing a meal and stories gathered from distant lands. In the quiet of nighttime, as the wind whispered softly through the grasses, thoughts of the fresh challenges awaiting him tomorrow began to settle in. Would he encounter new travelers? What tales lay in waiting along the road? And on a more mundane note, would he encounter any aggressive merchants vying for his attention? Perhaps they would offer to trade high-priced spices for a handful of silk, purely theoretical, of course. He smiled at the whimsicality of his musings and allowed himself to drift, reminded once more of how, even in the shifting shadows of history, little had changed. As dreams began to caress the edges of his consciousness, he found solace in the knowledge that many traveled the Silk Road before him, sharing the burdens and joys that came from the quest for adventure, trade, and friendship. The path stretched infinitely before him, and as he closed his eyes, he felt a quiet connection to all those who had walked it, their footsteps echoing through time like a gentle lullaby. The sun returned once more, casting its warm glow over the merchant as he roused himself from slumber. The familiar call of the morning awaited him, urging him to rise and greet the day anew. His morning meal was once again prepared with care, each bite a testament to the journey of the day ahead. With the chatter of the waking world whispering around him, he packed his gear, feeling the palpable excitement of the trade awaiting beyond the horizon. Setting out for the day, he was reminded of the great cycles of commerce that shaped civilizations. The roads may have changed, and yet the essence of trade remained, the exchange of goods balanced precariously upon the intricate web of human relationships. At every junction, the merchant would remember that he was a keeper of these stories, each piece of silk or spice cradling within it the hopes and aspirations of countless souls. As he wandered, he found himself once again at the crossroads of cultures, where caravan routes meandered under the clear sun. Here, neighboring nations intertwined their destinies, creating a vibrant tapestry of different languages, customs, and, of course, goods. It was a moment of profound unity amid the complexities of life, a reminder that humanity shared a common thread, an innate yearning for connection. With each encounter came a myriad of opportunities, a peppery merchant who spoke too loudly, a quiet trader who weighed each item with precision. Engaging in conversation, he showcased his silk, and for a fleeting moment, the two traders shared laughter and camaraderie. Each exchange marked a note in an ongoing symphony of trade, a gentle reminder that despite life's many trials, little moments of joy often punctuated the mundane rhythm of the everyday. Across the distance, a group of travelers approached, their laughter ringing like chimes in the wind. A family on their way to the festival, dressed in bright fabrics that danced in the air. They carried tales of festivities and laughter, of foods prepared with love and an abundance of joy. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and the merchant could not resist joining in the revelry, if only for a moment. Amid shared food and stories, the merchant inhaled the rich spices and aromas wafting in the air, the very essence of collective experience. They found comfort in one another's company, bonding over laughter, tribulations, and that delightful sense of being alive in an expansive world. The notion that these fleeting yet profound connections were, in essence, the threads of both ordinary and extraordinary human life brought warmth to his heart. As dusk descended once more, the merchant noted how the day's journey had left him enriched, not merely by goods traded, but by the stories and experiences shared. The laughter of new friends accompanied him into the night as they parted ways, each carrying a small piece of the other's tale within them. Retreating to a quiet campsite under a canopy of stars, he prepared for sleep, reflecting on the simple human connections that made trade much more than an act of. At the campsite, surrounded by the soft sounds of the night, the merchant settled into his modest abode of canvas and wood, feeling the coolness of the earth beneath him, a grounded reminder of his place in the world. The stars above twinkled in the vast expanse, a celestial tapestry that echoed the intricate patterns of silk he valued so dearly. He could hear the gentle crackle of a small fire, the scent of smoke mingling with the lingering spices from the day. With hands calloused from years of travel and trade, he prepared a simple meal, an act both mundane and sacred. As he stirred the pot, the warmth of the bubbling broth seeped into the air, blending with the nocturnal symphony of chirping crickets and distant howls. Each scent spoke of home, even if it was a home that felt distant most days. Connected by aroma, alchemy played its role as herbs unfolded their magic, bringing comfort by way of familiar flavors. The memories of laughter danced in his mind as he savored each bite, recalling stories shared by the fire with the family from earlier. They spoke of the vibrant festival ahead, where music and joy would be woven into every aspect, like silky threads through fine fabric. The merchant found himself smiling at how easily people could draw one another into their narratives, their shared humanity interlacing through every word spoken under that bright sky. As dusk deepened to night, the tranquil surroundings became a canvas for his thoughts of journeys that sprawled across vast deserts and formidable mountains, of days spent piecing together the puzzle of trades. Every stop along the Silk Road was another point of contact, each village a unique lens through which he gleaned deeper insights into the lives of others, lives bound by the same dreams yet tinged with countless variations of experience. And then, amidst these reflections, came the realization that even the most seasoned travelers held moments of uncertainty. Stories from fellow merchants often colored his musings, tales of difficult dealings, miscommunications, and the physical challenges of navigation. The merchant chuckled softly at the absurdity of worrying about lost goods or untrustworthy cartel members, while now, shaped by experience, he found tranquility in the chaos of it all. After all, while one might lose a load of silk, one could never lose the lessons learned along the way. This quiet acceptance of life's impermanence accompanied him like a warm blanket on chilly nights, a knowledge that he would awaken in the morning to a continually shifting world, and that every new day brought with it opportunities to trade not only goods but also stories, wisdom, and companionship. With the moon rising high in the vastness above, casting a soft light upon the earth, sleep began to reclaim him, wrapping its gentle arms around him like a comforting shroud. The murmurs of the world around faded, the flickering fire a dance confined to his dreams, where he navigated the winding paths of the Silk Road, encountering myriad souls, each adding a unique stitch to his ongoing tapestry of existence. The following dawn greeted him with a soft blush of light spilling across the horizon, transforming the dark canvas of the night into a palette of pastel hues, a gentle awakening. The world outside felt serene, a treasure waiting to be discovered. Gathering his belongings, he felt the tantalizing pull of anticipation. There were trades to complete, stories to weave, and new acquaintances to meet. Each sun-kissed morning felt like an invitation to participate in the grand narrative of life, and this day was no different. He packed his goods with care, securing bolts of silk, spices wrapped in aromatic leaves, and small trinkets meant to kindle interest in potential customers. Each item represented not just commerce but also the essence of its creator and origin. As he lifted the last bundle, he paused for a moment, absorbing the morning's tranquility, where the rustle of leaves and distant calls of waking birds created a sublime symphony of nature's gentle awakening. With everything prepared, he embarked on his journey anew. The road unfurled before him, an ancient path that whispered the stories of countless travelers. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting patterns upon the ground, shadows that danced and twirled with the rhythm of the wind. He took a deep breath, inhaling the scents of earth and foliage, of life brimming in every corner. Day by day, his steps guided him through diverse landscapes. He traversed rolling hills rich with wildflowers, their colors vibrant against the green backdrop, gifts from nature, untouched beauty in every hue. Occasionally, he would come across small markets, where local traders showcased their wares, adding to the ever-growing tapestry of goods that defined the Silk Road. Items ranged from ceramics to elaborate textiles, each stall a vibrant pop of creativity and craftsmanship. The soft chatter of vendors mingled with the rustling of fabric and the gentle clink of metal against metal. Here, negotiations unfolded like an art form, where prices were argued as skillfully as strokes in a masterful painting. He embraced the charm of bartering, the expected dance of commerce, where laughter often punctuated the tension of trading. As the day faded towards dusk, the merchant found himself attracted to a particularly lively gathering. The air crackled with an energy that drew him in, a celebration in full swing. Merchants and locals alike were immersed in a weave of stories and laughter, while children chased each other, their giggles rising like song into the cooling evening air. There, across the lively crowd, he spotted a familiar face, the peppery merchant who had engaged him days ago. They exchanged pleasantries, their camaraderie rekindled amid the celebrations. Both spoke of the trades they had completed, the prospects that lay ahead, and the wonders the Silk Road still held. The laughter and warmth experienced in connection grew deeper as they shared a feast, plates laden with succulent meats and fragrant rice, a banquet celebrating a shared life on the road, fuel for the journeys yet to come. Patience ruled over the exchanges that night, every anecdote shared brought warmth and intimacy, fostering community. In quieter moments, while steaming cups of fragrant tea cupped in their hands, they reflected on the unpredictability of the road, a metaphor for life itself. And then, as tales unravel, so too did the night. As the stars began to gracefully adorn the velvet sky once more, the merchant felt grateful for the kinship arising from shared experiences. Laughter from earlier echoed softly in his mind, harmonizing with the distant sound of a lute being strummed, a tender lullaby that bound all present in a cocoon of comfort. The merchant realized that amidst trade, camaraderie was one of the most valuable exchanges to yield, one that enriched both heart and soul. There was no greater treasure than laughter shared under the starlit sky or the feeling of belonging, even if only for a fleeting time. With this thought lingering pleasantly, he bid farewell to his companions, promising to meet again in the ever-weaving journey of life. With renewed purpose, he navigated back to his campsite, the forest whispering softly to him as he treaded lightly over the damp earth. Sleep welcomed him like an old friend, and beneath the canvas of stars, he surrendered to dreams woven from the fabric of his life, a portrait painted in memories and experiences far beyond mere trade. The next morning dawned bright and fresh, a gentle reminder of the infinite possibilities held within a single day. The merchant, invigorated by restful dreams, watched as the sun breathed warmth across the land. Every blade of grass glistened with tiny droplets of dew, a reflective surface capturing the shimmering beauty of the world, a world he called home. As he rose, the rhythm of his day began anew. He carefully folded remnants of their feast from the previous night and prepared to embark on yet another segment of his journey. Each item he packed spoke softly of the stories left behind and those waiting to be discovered, tales woven into the incredible narrative of the Silk Road that stretched endlessly before him. With each step, a sense of determination settled deep within him. Trade was not merely an exchange of goods but a conduit through which the essence of experience flowed. The merchant was acutely aware that every interaction had the potential to ignite joy or sow seeds of despair, creating ripples across the lives they touched. As he walked along the path, he absorbed the vibrant world around him. The melodies of nature filled his ears, whispers of the wind, laughter of children at play, and the soft squawk of birds overhead. With every heartbeat, the world unfolded its beauty, showcasing the everyday miracles that lay at the heart of existence. And then, after a long day of travel, he arrived at the next bustling market town, alive with color and movement. The stalls shimmered with goods of nearly every kind, the air thick with the scent of spices and sweet fruits. Here, the merchant was not merely an observer but a participant in an ongoing cultural exchange, every trade a reaffirmation of shared human values and aspirations. He navigated through the labyrinthine alleys filled with laughter and shouts of joy. Children chased each other madly, their exuberance infectious as they slid their way around wagons piled high with grain and textiles. The merchant exchanged knowing smiles with the vendors, who promptly began their familiar dance of bartering, laughter bubbling up through the negotiations. This vibrant market showcased not only the tangible goods on display but also the character of the town itself, every face telling a story, every exchange a binding thread in the rich fabric of community. It was here that he delighted in absorbing the simple joys that were layered across the complexities of trade. In this space, time felt as though it stretched and folded in on itself. Hours could slip. The merchant continued to weave through the bustling stalls, each one more adorned than the last, reminiscent of humble homes turned lively spectacles. The vendors, cheeky and jovial, waved and called out, their voices mingling in a sweet cacophony that seemed to hug the very air. The ripe fruits beckoned with their vivid colors, ambrosial oranges, luscious figs, each one a piece of nature's quiet bounty. And while he took in the vibrancy, a soft chuckle escaped him. After all, it was amusing how much one could long to barter for an overripe pomegranate, such peculiar delicacies taking center stage in the grand theater of life's transactions. As the sun sank lower in the sky, the warm golden light shimmered over the marketplace, casting soft shadows. Lanterns began to flicker to life, their comforting glow a promise of evening delights. The merchant paused for just a moment, allowing himself to relax amidst the whirl of activity, contemplating the meals full of spice and warm bread that awaited him with the night. The sound of sizzling skewers brought his attention to a nearby vendor who specialized in grilled meats. The aroma wafted like whispers of old stories, mingling with the scents of saffron and cardamom. A few coins exchanged hands, and the merchant received a morsel of tender meat, each bite rich with flavor, its juiciness surprising him, given the long hours of travel that had preceded it. These small pleasures seemed to anchor him, a reminder that sustenance was as vital as commerce on the long road. With his belly full and his trade goods securely bundled, he resumed his stroll through the cobblestone streets. The merchant reveled in the simplicity of his surroundings. Here was a world built on trade and mutual dependence, a web spun across vast distances, linking lives and fostering shared dreams. He appreciated the notion that in this market, amidst its warmth, even the most serious of business was punctuated by laughter. A quiet humor bubbled beneath the negotiations, a reminder that while goods might change hands, the essence of humanity remained intact. He ambled past stalls adorned with textiles from foreign lands, silk and tapestries unraveling tales of their own, hues so vibrant they could almost sing. An elderly woman wove her magic into beleaguered fabrics, fingers deftly returning the vibrant threads into a sumptuous, intricate dance. The merchant paused, nodding respectfully, acknowledging the craftsmanship honed to perfection over years. It seldom ceased to amaze him how the simplest of actions could carry the weight of history. Each woven piece spoke of both a culture and a creator, bridging generations with every stitch. Conversations flowed like water around him, merchants haggled, friends reunited, and laughter shared across tables laden with goods and mementos from near and far. The evening presented itself with the allure of nostalgia, the gentle reminder that while the world spun forward, her heart remained firmly rooted in the rich, earthen soil of tradition. As dusk settled, the merchant sought a small inn for a night's repose, nestled within the embrace of the town. The inviting glow of its lanterns shone through the billowing curtains, flickering like the dreams it promised to hold within its walls. Upon entering, the air felt cozy, imbued with the scent of wood smoke and hearty stew. He greeted the innkeeper, a stout man with a generous smile and a twinkle in his eye that spoke of joyful encounters past. The merchant was shown to a humble room, its rough-hewn furniture lending a rustic charm that inspired comfort, while the quiet sounds of the inn's activity enveloped him like a warm shawl. He settled in, momentarily gazing out the window at the stars sparkling overhead, each one a distant reminder of journeys long past or yet to come. Here, he found solace from the frenetic pace of the marketplace, a breathing space that allowed reflection on the day's endeavors. Night descended softly, washing over the town like a whisper. As he nestled into a bed, he savored the thought of a merchant's dreams, less glamorous than one might think, consisting of vibrant colors and distant markets, perhaps punctuated by the occasional stray cat meandering through the warm glow of a hearth. This was a time for repose, for his mind to wander through fields plumped with promise, both in trade and unheralded moments, rich with laughter. As he drifted off, thoughts meandering like lantern light through the night, he reminisced about the families he had met along the way, kind faces that shared tales, normally with stoic resolve. It was this tapestry of life, crisscrossed with joys and hardships, that rendered every interaction precious. Each merchant knew, even in silence, that their trade was a fleeting, yet deeply human enterprise. When morning dawned, they would rise, laden with hopes, eager for new conversations, and new goods to share. Morning arrived slowly, the sun pouring through the window with its familiar touch, painting the inn's walls golden. The merchant shook off remnants of the night, preparing himself to embark once more into the vibrant marketplace. He gathered his wares with practiced ease, thankful that his burdens were both literal and metaphorical. As he ventured out onto the lively streets again, the marketplaces felt alive with a kind of magic, a gentle pulse that resonated with the heartbeats of all who roamed them. Through the overlapping sounds, trading voices rising and falling, children's laughter flitting like swallows, the gentle clinking of coins, an unspoken connection formed among everyone present. This was home for this wandering soul, a transient but familiar feeling of being part of something larger. With every coin exchanged, he felt the ebb and flow of energy among the people, rich in variety. Negotiations weren't just about buying, they were storms of stories, laden with hope, aches, and occasional grievances, each layer adding to the wonderful complexity of being human. The weight of his goods transformed with each conversation, shifting like the wind rustling through the leaves. As midday approached, he found himself in the shade of a vibrant cherry blossom. Witnessing the petals dance delicately in the breezes, he smiled at the irony. Here he was, a merchant of silks and spices, but nature herself provided the most breathtaking adornments. Could anything be more beautiful than this delicate cascade of pink? It seemed to beckon him, urging him to pause, reflect, and appreciate the intricate beauty all around. From beneath the cherry tree, he could observe the marketplace in perfect harmony, a world where vibrant spices, rich fabrics, and stories converged. There was an old gentleman arguing jovially with a young girl over the price of a colorful scarf. The merchant could feel the tension diffuse into laughter, dancing through the air, lightening the love felt among companions in trade. It was truly a sight to behold, the intertwining of lives, each woven strand connected through the silken threads of commerce. But not all was light-hearted. He recalled moments spent haggling fiercely, where misunderstandings led to pangs of awkwardness and exchanged glances. Just as commerce flowed with vibrancy, it harbored struggles too, echoing life's bittersweet essence. In these vulnerable exchanges, he understood how important it was to learn empathy and to weave compassion into the fabric of every transaction. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows as time drifted lazily. The merchant collected an assortment of goods, carefully balancing his inventory and weaving together threads of his next stories. Each item bore a piece of his journey, a broken compass acquired from a fellow traveler, enigmatic gemstones stolen from sunlight, and spices that whispered tales of distant lands. None of these treasures felt tangible without the heartbeat of the people who once cherished them. Later, he decided to take a break from the rigors of trade and approached a nearby well, the familiar sound of water bubbling a welcome retreat from the bustling market. He drew a cool bucket of water, refreshing in its clarity, and savored its coolness as he quenched his thirst. The well marked the very essence of community, it reflected relationships sown with care. Gatherings around a well spoke of vulnerability, a unity born out of necessity, as families navigated the daily struggles of life and trade. With his thirst quenched, the merchant continued along the paths lined with stalls, forging connections with each trader he came across, every interaction like a brushstroke on a vast canvas. He was drawn into the stories of their origins, each vendor embellishing tales of their pasts as if the wares before them were mere canvases for the real art, the tapestry of life shared through conversation. The air became another companion, thickened with scents, cinnamon curled around his senses, a delightful mix with the aroma of freshly baked bread. He found a nearby baker who, with flour dusted prominently on his apron, shyly offered a steaming loaf from the oven, crusty yet soft to the touch, its warmth a delightful embrace. There was a simple joy in sharing freshly baked goods with others, stirring conversations grappling with both sharing bread and aspiring dreams. Underneath the presence of the warm sun, the rhythm of life continued uninterrupted. The merchant engaged in light-hearted exchanges, inquiries into the visitor's treasures, and whispers of old trading routes. They spoke of mountains barely crossed and markets never explored, the horizon holding promise like a lover waiting patiently. As time gracefully waltzed forward, he felt the pull of evening approaching once again, a familiar lull urging him toward the inn. People began to loosen their ties with the day, laughter echoing like bells, creating a melody with the buzzing of the market. The merchant, enriched by experiences, returned to the welcoming retreat, and once again wrapped himself in the reassuring. The soft light of dusk melted through the sun-soaked streets, painting the world in hues of gentle amber and deepening shadows. Our merchant passed through the thrumming heart of the market, where voices ebbed and flowed like the quiet lapping of waves against a shore. Merchants were packing their wares, yet the air remained vibrant with the aromas of spices, textiles, and mingled laughter, creating an intimate tapestry of communal existence. It was a dance of commerce, camaraderie, and shared human experience. As the merchant approached the inn's rustic facade, he felt the familiar sense of belonging swell within him. The inn was more than merely a stop on his journey, it was a warm embrace, a sanctuary teeming with stories exchanged over hearty meals. There, travelers and locals alike shared tables, clinking cups filled with rich, dark brews, recounting tales of faraway lands and sweet memories. He pushed open the heavy wooden door, the creak of hinges announcing his return. The scent of roasting meat enveloped him like a warm blanket, drawing him toward the hearth where a large pot simmered gently, filling the room with the promise of nourishment. The host, a robust figure with a welcoming smile, greeted him with a nod, understanding the unspoken language of a weary traveler. In the flickering candlelight, the merchant settled at a large wooden table, reclaimed from the swirling whispers of history, and the world around him began to fade softly into the background, as familiar faces exchanged knowing smiles and shared a bond over mutual experiences. Here, amidst laughter, tales flowed like honey, rich and sweet, each story layered with the threads of life lived along the Silk Road. As supper was served, a woven tapestry of flavors met his palate, a dish of fragrant rice, adorned with nuts and dried fruits, intermingled with succulent meat. Each bite transported him, a reminder of the beauty that sometimes lay hidden within the mundane. The meal unfolded slowly as he chatted about the day's trades, recounting his encounters with fellow merchants who shared the same hunger for connection as well as for profit. Somehow, amidst the charming antics, they all seemed to coalesce around the collective memory of being seekers, each searching for their own kind of treasure. The lingering shadows grew longer as the sun kissed the horizon goodbye, giving way to a starlit sky. Through the open window, a gentle breeze invited itself in, cool and soft, rustling the curtains like whispers of the night bidding welcome. An old bard strummed his lute softly in the corner, notes floating delicately above the hum of conversation, gliding effortlessly over the rooftops and into the hearts of everyone present. As the intoxicating melodies wrapped around him, the merchant pondered the stories he hadn't yet woven into the fabric of his life. He realized each night in this inn was a chapter, each traveler a character, each tale they shared a thread connecting past and present. The innate desire for connection hummed beneath the surface, the sheer need to remember, to be remembered. The merchant spent his evening in peaceful reflection, allowing his thoughts to ebb like the tide, washed with the sound of laughter and gentle music. With the warmth of food coursing through him, he soon found himself beguiled by the comforting embrace of fatigue. His body, weary but content, led him softly toward sleep, yet his mind lingered on stories yet untold, adventures awaiting, and the rhythmic dance of life forever unfolding. As stars twinkled in the expansive canvas of night and the inn settled into peaceful slumber, our merchant embarked upon dreams of journeys across emerald valleys, majestic mountains, and vibrant markets teeming with life. Here, in this quiet realm of slumber, he roamed freely, not bound by the earthly worries of weighty transactions or late-night negotiations, but liberated to explore wondrous landscapes, each path unfolding into a new adventure. Soon, the gentle light of dawn crept through the window, chasing away the night's shadows and ushering in a new day. The early mornings in the inn were marked by soft sounds, the bubbling of porridge cooking, the clinking of pots and pans, and the gentle murmur of waking patrons. The merchant opened his eyes, feeling refreshed, as the cool air wrapped around him, creating a bubble of serenity. He gazed out of the window, taking in the serene beauty of the morning light dancing on the rooftops. With each soft stretch, he inhaled the wholesome scents rising from the kitchen, promising another day filled with the simple pleasures of culinary delights. Breakfast, a feast for the senses, awaited him. He envisioned the warm bread still glistening with butter, the beautiful bounty of fruit piled high, a sweet reminder of nature's generosity. Stepping lightly across the creaky wooden floor, he made his way to the common room, pulling himself into the gathering of other traders fresh from their dreams. The atmosphere was suffused with an earthy aroma as the host placed bowls of porridge on the hearty wooden table, alongside fresh bread crusted with morning dew. Patrons gathered, each lost temporarily in their private thoughts, sipping shared laughter that melted the barrier of travel weariness. It was a time for quiet banter, a moment before the world rushed back in with its bustling demands and expectations. Seated among them, the merchant savored the pliability of the bread, its warm crust flaking gently beneath his fingertips. As the bread met his mouth, it whispered tales of diligence and craft, the earth's grains transformed through hands that knew the rituals of creation. Each bite was a communion, a shared experience of survival and sustenance, of gathering and sharing, an echo of the simple yet profound nature of humanity. He listened to friends recount their plans for the day, their voices weaving a tapestry of intentions for markets anticipated and goods to be bartered. With the promise of adventure fresh in the air, the merchant embraced the familiar call of the Silk Road, that winding path shimmering with potential, each step a journey shared with countless others. As the sun gained confidence and ascended higher into the vault of sky, the merchant prepared his own thoughts, gathering his wares, his heart full of stories and dreams to share. He gathered the treasures he had collected from his travels, the delicate silk, vibrant textiles, aromatic spices, all encapsulations of the people and cultures he had encountered. Each item became an ambassador of its land, an invitation into a world waiting to be explored. Stepping outside, he was greeted by a scene that felt both ancient and reassuringly modern. The market began to bustle with a renewed energy, each person a vital part of the living mosaic. Children played with hastily made toys, their laughter like the gentle peal of bells in the crisp morning air. The chatter of vendors rose like morning mist, enveloping the gaily colored stalls, where they prided themselves on their handcrafted goods. With each step, the merchant slipped into the rhythm of the day, the soft thuds of his sandals echoing as they met cobblestones, a quiet pact of purpose with the ground beneath him. With his cart pushed steadily before him, the act of trading became a dance, punctuated by the shuffling of feet and humor-laden exchanges. He brought a smile into this joyous amalgam of life, where the barter of goods transcended mere transactions, intertwining fates in a manner as delicate as the finest silk. Conversations ebbed and flowed, a blend of regional dialects and gestures painting an intricate linguistic tapestry, filled with laughter, questioning, and awe. Along the path of the marketplace, the merchant exchanged cordial hellos with fellow traders, the weight of their shared endeavors lingering in the air like sweet incense. His heart swelled with belonging and purpose, reminded of the sacred dance this life offered. He drifted past stalls where fabrics draped like waterfalls, shimmering in the sunlight, captivating and alluring. The merchant paused as he ran his fingers over the textiles, feeling textures that spoke of their origins, silent stories embedded within each weave. He imagined the hands that crafted them, how many years had been spent learning and perfecting the art of textile making, each fold holding a whisper of love. Nearby, a vendor hawked spices, their scents wafting enticingly, a sultry embrace that danced through his senses, combining turmeric's warmth with the boldness of black pepper. Perhaps today would yield surprising exchanges as he gathered his goods, perhaps even an unexpected friendship formed through the sharing of tales over the mercurial spices that bound them. Hours slipped by like grains of sand through fingers, each moment infused with the spirit of the market, enthusiasm building a sweet tension around transactions. The sun climbed higher, caressing everyone present with its gentle warmth, while the merchant participated in exchanges both mundane and miraculous, all under the watchful gaze of the day. In the midst of this activity, he occasionally found time to step back, to observe the intricacies of the world around him. Each laugh exchanged held a story, every gesture contained a world of meanings, bonds forged in the crucible of commerce, dreams echoed across generations. Often, he would lean against the stall, eager to hear the tales of distant travelers, exotic lands flourishing beneath tales of everyday types of grains, as the world spun widely on its axis. He marveled at the resilience of the human spirit, how the pursuit of trade intertwined seamlessly with the goings-on of life, creating a rhythm of its own. While some sought riches for lavish palaces, many simply desired to revel in the joy of connection, the warmth of shared humor, even over the simplest exchanges, satisfied his gritty heart more than any silver piece ever could. The afternoon slowly languished, the sun beginning its descent toward the horizon. As the afternoon slowly languished, the sun began its descent toward the horizon, casting long shadows that played upon the cobbled streets of the bustling market. The golden light bathed everything in a soft glow, transforming the ordinary into something magical. Merchants continued to engage in the lively dance of barter, voices rising and falling like the gentle waves of an evening tide. The air was thick with the mingling aromas, incense, fried bread, and the underlying richness of spices that told tales of distant lands. In the deepening warmth of the day, the silk merchant felt a certain contentment settle over him. He loved this time of day, when the market thrummed with life, yet held an air of mellowness that invited reflection. It was a time to assess and savor the day's contributions, to weigh the successes and to ponder the failures. With each soft rustle of silk against silk, he felt a sense of belonging to something much larger than himself, a cobweb of connection spanning the entirety of the Silk Road. Nearby, he could see a group of women seated on colorful cushions, engaged in quiet chatter over small glass cups filled with sweetened tea. They sipped with delicate grace, their laughter punctuating the dense atmosphere of trade. The merchant could almost hear their conversations, filled with the soft lilt of childhood memories and the musings on love, great and small. The soft jingle of jewelry accompanied their lilting voices, each piece telling a story of its own journey from the heart of artisans to the delicate wrists and ears of the women. As the sun inched lower, the vibrant colors of wares displayed became richer, each hue telling tales of thriving markets long past. His thoughts drifted to the stories the fabric could tell, to the far-off weavers in the mountains whose skilled hands coaxed life from raw silk. Each bolt of fabric, draped lazily over wooden frames, had a journey, a pilgrimage from remote villages to his own humble stall, a testament to human ingenuity and tenacity. With a soft chuckle, he recalled an irresistible bartering encounter with an Eastern trader who was hell-bent on trading silk for a rather questionable assortment of herbs. Not just any herbs, mind you, but herbs said to cure everything from toothaches to unrequited love. One can only ponder the chaotic beauty of it all, how commerce weaved together cultures, histories, and even friendships from the most unlikely pairing, like silk and smelly roots. As twilight tenderly approached, casting deep hues of indigo across the sky, the merchant prepared to close his stall. The market was beginning to shift in anticipation of night, embracing the calm that follows the day's vibrant activity. He pulled the silks close, taking care to wrap each piece with the gentleness that echoed their own soft whispers. There was a profound serenity to this task, a moment of quiet echoed in the secrets held by the silks. With his stall secured for the evening, the silk merchant meandered through the darkening paths of the market, absorbing the sights and sounds around him. As darkness draped like a veil across the city, lanterns flickered to life, casting soft halos of light that now breathed life into conversations previously muted by the day's sun. The sounds shifted, too, now filled with the cheerful burble of late-night chatter, as friends and family gathered. The merchant settled himself on a low wall, observing the dance of flames as night fell, the flickering lights reflecting the vibrant souls of traders from far and wide. He felt a sense of nostalgia wash over him, reminiscent of the timelessness of human connection, how each candlelit gathering echoed those of generations past. He thought of the stories that would be shared tonight, a tapestry of tales woven together through shared laughter and the warmth of camaraderie, binding everyone more tightly like the very silk they cherished. Merchants, soldiers, travelers, and dreamers, all united, if only for a brief moment, beneath the vast, twinkling sky. The chatter became a soothing murmur, bodies relaxed, and spirits lifted, each moment a blend of past and present. How magical it was, he mused, to find joy in the simplest things, a shared cup of tea, a piece of bread to break, a story that unspooled with the night's veil. He took in the scene, draped in the comforting warmth of togetherness, like a caressing breeze that spoke softly of home. As the evening deepened, bowls of stew and flatbreads made their way around the gathering. Each bite was an offering of warmth, enriching both the body and the soul, for every meal carried with it not just sustenance but the stories of its ingredients, whispered by the wind as they traveled from pasture to pot. The merchant smiled at the thought, imagining how the grains were massaged from the earth, carrying the essence of the sun and rain, merged beautifully into a meal shared among friends. The air thickened with spices as supper came to an end, laughter twinkled through the darkness, and the thoughts of merchants turned to dreams. Dreams of the next day, of opportunity, and of roads yet untaken. Each trader, each merchant harboring aspirations of prosperity, each facing tomorrow's uncertain possibilities with the knowledge that they shared in something greater than themselves. As the stars sprinkled the sky overhead, the merchant considered how fortunate he was, not just to eat well but to revel in the depth of connection that transcended mere commerce. He allowed himself a soft sigh, a sound lost amidst the joyful hum of the market. Tomorrow would bring new friends, new stories, and perhaps a few unexpected challenges. But for tonight, he let the soothing rhythm of the conversation lull him into a tranquil realization, regardless of what tomorrow held, at least he could return to his humble abode, perhaps with a new silk for his collection, and certainly with a heart full of shared laughter. And so, as the night deepened, the market continued to thrive, not simply as a place of trade but as a living entity, a tapestry woven from the vibrant threads of humanity's shared experience. With every whispered tale, every exchanged glance, the merchant felt more assured that the bonds fostered here would endure, echoing across the ages. In the quiet moments, his thoughts turned to home, where soft blankets awaited and the gentle embrace of cool night air would welcome him like an old friend. Each distant star twinkled above, perhaps sharing his gratitude for the silk and spice, the laughter and warmth, the intricate dance of life that continued on, unfalteringly. At that tranquil juncture, he closed his mind to the buzzing world around him, surrendering to the comfort of contentment. When sleep beckoned, he said a silent thanks to the weavers of destiny who had spun this intricate life of trade, a life that transcended the mundanity of day-to-day existence, weaving a fabric that twined together the fates of strangers into an enduring saga of collective human experience. And now, as the lanterns flickered gently against the cool night sky, he began the harmonious journey back to his dwelling, a place where dreams would intertwine with hopes, all lulled to the soft whispers of the silk and the sweetness of the spices he would carry home. He could already feel the pull of sleep, soft as the silkiest of fabrics, swathing him gently, inviting him into its comforting embrace. When you settle into your own cozy bed tonight, think of him and his gentle life, a life of silks, spices, and stories told over the flicker of a candle, where rest was never far away, and dreams always beckoned with the promise of tomorrow. Remember that, like him, you too live in an era with pillows and soft sheets, a remarkable comfort compared to the hardscrabble trails he traveled. And with that thought, drift peacefully away, breathing softly in and out, as the stars watch over you, just as they watched over him. As he navigated the winding paths, the whispers of the evening air seemed to dance with the puffs of silken thread from the baskets slung over his weary shoulders, each step a gentle reminder of the weight and beauty of his wares. The scent of spices lingered, mingling with the earthy aroma of the ground beneath his feet, a nostalgic reminder that he was but a speck in a vast tapestry of trade. The stars began to twinkle above, and with every breath, he inhaled the history around him, the resilience of the land, the resilience of those willing to traverse it. Upon reaching his dwelling, the merchant paused, allowing the evening's embrace to envelop him fully. The cool air kissed his skin, soothing his tired limbs, as he set his burdens down with a sigh of relief. The faint sound of laughter and chatter drifted from neighboring homes, melodies of life that reminded him of the camaraderie shared within a community stitched together by trade and tales. This was a nightly symphony, filled with the sounds of children playing, the distant barking of dogs, and the occasional clatter of pots, the rhythm of a collective existence unfurling like the colorful banners that adorned the bustling markets. He entered his home, where the soft light of an oil lamp flickered, casting a warm glow across familiar walls. The air was infused with the fragrant notes of spices yet to be stored, hinting at the stories waiting to be told over dinner, a banquet for the senses. The inviting aroma of flatbreads baking on the hearth filled the space like a hug, wrapping around him in a comforting embrace, a welcome retreat from the day's journey. As he settled onto his well-worn mat, a sense of belonging enveloped him. He closed his eyes momentarily, letting the warmth seep into his bones. The gentle flicker of the flame painted shadows that danced in a slow sway, a mirror of the tranquil rhythm of life, the consistent pulse of trade, community, and homecoming. Every evening was a reunion of sorts, a gathering of thoughts and memories, like silks unfurling with kindness and histories woven together with laughter and remnants of spice. Dinner was a simple affair, a reflection of his day. He savored each bite, letting the spices awaken his taste buds, igniting memories of the lands from which they hailed. Long days spent bartering in the markets gave way to evenings filled with gratitude for food and fellowship. Discussions about exchanged goods, the tales of distant lands, and hopes for the morrow drifted through the air, buoyed by joy and the richness of shared experiences. The ancient art of storytelling came to life as friends relayed their own adventures along the road, laughter punctuating the spaces between words, binding their hearts and minds together. When the meal concluded, expectation lingered in the air, as the merchant anticipated the inevitable gathering of stories. Each night, they would weave tales of daring and discovery, some exaggerated, others grounded in the truth of shared experience, and as they spoke, the stars outside shimmered with approval. The patterns of adventure spun like fine threads of silk, connecting every heart around the mat into a network of warmth, creativity, and well-being. In these moments of companionship, the weight of the day melted away. The good-natured humor floated gently through their conversations, reminder that despite the gravity of trade and distance, joy remained constant. The merchant smiled as he recalled the town musician's fancy way of describing an especially long day of negotiation, suggesting that patience was not merely a virtue, but rather a stretching exercise for the soul, one that prepared it for the potential hilarity of life's unpredictability. Eventually, one by one, his companions began to take their leave, the cool night air beckoning them back to their own homes, reminding them that the stars held countless stories yet to be told, waiting patiently for the morrow. As the final lantern flickered out in the distance, the merchant felt the satisfying quiet settle around him, familiar in its cadence, like an old friend slipping quietly into a shared moment of stillness. Alone now, he settled into the comforting embrace of his sleeping space, soft, inviting, and just beyond the reach of the day's worries. With his heart full and his spirit nourished, he closed his eyes to the gentle sounds of the night. Outside, the world softened into silence, a canvas yet again painted with shadows, whispers, and reflections. The night wrapped him like a quilt, where dreams awaited like delicate silks, ready to weave new tapestries of adventure, even as he submitted to the lull of rest. In the warmth of his dwelling, he felt the tranquility of every journey that had led him to this moment, his life as a merchant but one thread in the grand tapestry of the Silk Road. The experiences he gathered enriched not just his own existence but those of countless others whose paths he crossed. They shared more than just silks and spices, they exchanged laughter, wisdom, and kindness that would ripple through time like a soft stream, carving away at the hard edges of the world. And as slumber encroached like the gentle touch of dawn lifting fog from the hills, he surrendered to the calm reassurance that wherever the road may lead in days to come, be it through bustling bazaars or quiet villages, the essence of his journey would remain a part of him. When you finally surrender to sleep tonight, remember that each of us is a merchant in our own right, carrying with us the riches of experience and dreams to share with the world. And unlike our merchant friend, you have a bed that doesn't involve hours of travel or concern for scorpions, or, for that matter, the unpredictable nature of trading with livestock. As he drifted deeper into dreams, an amusing thought struck him, that while he might barter for the finest silks, none could compare to the softness of his own mattress, warmed by the day's memories and the promise of tomorrow. The sun would soon rise again, painting the horizon with hues of gold and pink, inviting him to awaken to the rhythm of life once more. A new day and a new journey beckoned. He dreamt of markets bustling anew, spices vibrant and fragrant, friendships blossoming like spring flowers in a garden tended with care, each moment a precious jewel to cherish and share. And as you nestle into your own blankets, let these thoughts gently guide you into a restful slumber, where dreams weave softly like silk threads, wrapping you in the comfort of a world where the essence of trade and togetherness holds firm, inviting the dawn of a new day filled with possibility and wonder. A merchant's day would often begin just as the sun nudged the horizon, its light unfurling slowly across the expansive skies above the Silk Road. In the soft, warm hours of morning, while the dew still clung delicately to the grass, the merchant would rise, stretching his limbs like a lanky cat ready to begin a new adventure. The scents of wood smoke and freshly baked bread would drift through his window, wrapping around him like an embrace, encouraging him into the day ahead. His first task was often to gather his wares. Not the simple task of haphazardly packing a few bags, no, it was an artful delicacy requiring precision. He would rummage through neatly stacked silks, the fabric shimmering as it caught the early morning light, each roll a kaleidoscope of color promising stories untold. He would run his fingers across the silken threads, savoring their smoothness, letting the tendrils of imagination twine about distant lands where these materials were woven. For supplies, he would often visit a neighbor, a wizened old woman with a penchant for storytelling and a talent for herbal concoctions. Her small cottage, with walls covered in climbing vines, always radiated warmth. As he exchanged silks for her fragrant spices and dried fruits, he would listen to her tales of sun-kissed orchards and the markets of faraway cities. The way she spoke of saffron as the sun's laughter captured in a flower would make him chuckle, aware that no amount of travel could truly furnish one with such poetic imagery. With his packs filled, he would set out, the sound of hooves and of the softly creaking cart accompanying him. The journey began on well-trodden paths, lined with the resilient greens of nature, serene silhouettes of trees reached toward the heavens. Small creatures might stir as he passed, the chattering of squirrels a gentle reminder of the life thriving alongside his own. Each bump of the road beneath the wheels would gently sway the contents of his cart, whispering promises of distant exchanges awaiting him. As he traveled, the sun would rise higher, casting shadows that danced and flickered along the path. Stopping at an oasis, where date palms swayed lazily and the clear water shimmered temptingly, he would pause to rest, drawing sustenance from cool draughts that soothed parched throats. He would soak in the silence, occasionally catching glimpses of fellow travelers who shared the road with him, each carrying their own tales, their own burdens, yet mightily resembling his own journey. In the afternoon, as the sun grew heavy and the air thickened with heat, he would arrive at one of the many trading cities that adorned the Silk Road like jewels adorning a necklace. The bustling bazaars would greet him like a warm, chaotic embrace, a cacophony of sounds enveloping him. Voices rose and fell in a rhythmic pattern, bargaining and bantering, tantalizing aromas wafting through the air, every corner revealed treasures waiting to be discovered. Here, merchants mingled like fruits in a basket. From afar, he would spot a fellow trader, a stout man known for his wit, standing beside vibrant bolts of fabric. The two would exchange greetings, laughter punctuating their conversation as they discussed the virtues of their latest acquisitions. They would admire each other's goods, comparing silk to wool, spices to fruits, each word an intricate weave in the fabric of friendship forged amidst commerce. He would then wander through the stalls, pausing to peruse the silks, the beads, the spices, and the rare treasures, tiny pieces of crystal that seemed to capture the essence of the sky. The merchants' calls mingled like music, a harmonious blend punctuated by the rhythmic clinking of coins exchanging hands. Amidst it all, he felt at home, a particle in the bustling universe of trade and connection, his heart swelling just as the afternoon sun warmed his back. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of evening hues, the merchant would retreat to a quieter part of the bazaar to settle his accounts. Here, under a canopy of stars unfolding, he would meet with others, merchants and traders, sharing stories of the day while counting coins with fingers practiced in the delicate dance of numbers. Days spent traversing the road had long since sharpened his intuition. He developed an underlying instinct for people, a sense of their truths hidden behind smiles or frowns. This unspoken language of humanity greeted him warmly in every exchange, affirming that while the products may vary, silk from the east, spices from the south, tea from the highlands, it was the connectivity of spirit that formed the foundation of every transaction. When evening ushered itself in with cool breezes and the scent of grilled meats wafting through the market, he would often find himself in the company of friends, recounting tales by the flickering flame of lanterns, bright against the darkening sky, a constellation reflecting their camaraderie. Here, shared laughter punctuated the night air, a sweet reminder of the ties that bound them together, far removed from the mundane troubles of home. As the city dimmed and the stars began their celestial dance overhead, he would retreat to his temporary lodging. With each step to his small room, he would quietly appreciate the palatial nature of a bed and a roof above, comforts that eluded many on the road. The gentle creak of the wooden floor would serenade him as he prepared for another night's rest, wrapping himself in the embrace of familiar linen. Lying down, thoughts of the day's adventures would swirl like clouds drifting through a serene sky. He would reflect upon the laughter shared, the goods traded, and the connections formed. All woven together like the silks he carried, remarkable threads stitched into the fabric of his life. As slumber took hold, the soft murmur of the city would fade, dreams would take him once more along the winding paths of the Silk Road. He would find himself back among camels and carts, travelers sharing stories of triumphs and travails, and laughter lacing the air like sweet perfume. On such nights, you might find yourself wondering about the significance of a single merchant's life in the grander narrative of history. The comfort lies in knowing that each day's shared stories, each laugh exchanged, continue to resonate through the ages, much like your own journey through life, marked by moments of joy, simple pleasures, and the occasional bump or scrape along the road. When sleep wraps around you tonight, remember that while merchants of the Silk Road sought treasures and trade, you are cradled by the delicate luxuries of soft pillows, warm blankets, and the gentle embrace of a night's rest, all treasures indeed. If history teaches us anything, it is that the quest for comfort has forever been universal, marked by the joy of simple laughter and human connection. And as the night deepens, shedding the burdens of the day, allow yourself to drift toward dreams filled with satin silks, fragrant spices, and friendships that know no borders. And should you catch the glimmer of a shooting star tonight, rest assured that it's simply the universe's way of smiling down, encouraging sweet sleep, and perhaps even waiting for you to barter for a story worth sharing in the morning light. The soft hush of night envelopes the city, creating an ambience that is both tranquil and alive. As the merchant drifts deeper into sleep, his dreams transport him once more to the adventures that await him at dawn. The Silk Road, with its vast stretches and unknown landscapes, beckons like a lover at a distant horizon, eager to be discovered once more. Awakening to the first light of morning, he stretches, feeling the cool linen against his skin. The reassuring rhythm of life continues around him, as roosters herald the day's beginning, their calls echoing through the narrow alleyways like cheerful heralds. The distant sounds of markets coming to life filter through the window, a gentle cacophony of bartering voices and the clinking of goods, reminding him of the business that lies ahead. He rises, feet touching the cold floor, a stark reminder of the early morning chill. Slipping into his well-worn sandals, the merchant steps outside, inhaling the day's promise as he wanders through the familiar streets. The cool air carries with it the scent of freshly baked bread, mingling with spices from vendor stalls, invoking memories of distant lands and the myriad colors of goods traded. Each step he takes feels purposeful, the cobblestones are guides to a day filled with interactions and exchanges. The marketplace awaits, alive with the bustling energy of traders, storytellers, and customers, each carrying their own tales, hopes, and aspirations. It serves as a microcosm of life along the Silk Road, a vivid tapestry of humanity woven with threads of commerce and kinship. Approaching his stall, he glances at the carefully arranged silks, each piece a canvas painted with vibrant hues and intricate patterns. The silks are not merely fabrics, they are stories, woven with care, each bearing the echo of artisans from faraway places. As he runs his fingers over the textures, he feels the journey each piece has made, from the weaver's looms to his humble display, a reminder that even objects we cherish bear the marks of adventure. His eyes drift to the array of spices displayed alongside, jars shimmering like jewels in the morning light. Cardamom, cinnamon, and saffron, each scent wafting through the air like a personal invitation to remember distant lands. They hold within them the warmth of kitchens bustling with life, the joy of family feasts, and the sweet memories of shared meals. He invites customers with a friendly nod, their voices blending into a melodious hum. The dance of negotiation begins, laughter punctuating the air as prices are haggled. It's a ritual, one that brings an unexpected joy. With each sale made, there is a sense of accomplishment, an invisible thread linking him to those who will wear the silks or cook with the spices, a small but significant connection across time and space. As midday approaches, the sun climbs higher, bathing the market in golden light. There's a delightful sound of children playing nearby, their laughter ringing with innocent exuberance. It feels like the heartbeat of the marketplace, a rhythm that merges with the bartering, creating a soothing symphony of everyday life. A skilled storyteller captures the attention of passers-by, weaving tales of valor, love, and far-off adventures. The merchant pauses to listen, caught in the web of narrative that cradles both the joy and the hardships of the human journey. These stories mirror his own life on the road, filled with moments of bravery, laughter, heartbreak, and hope, drawing everyone together in a shared experience that transcends borders. Afternoon gives way to a sweltering heat, yet life continues unabated. The merchant wipes the sweat from his brow, feeling the weight of his endeavors. He relishes the feeling of hard work, a comfort in the rhythm of daily toil. Each drop of perspiration feels like an investment in his dreams, a small currency traded for the chance to provide for himself and his family. As the shadows begin to stretch, signaling the approach of evening, he reflects on the day's transactions, each paying just enough to keep the wheels turning. With each dealt silken bolt or jar of spice exchanged for coins or trinkets, there lies the promise of sustenance, warmth, and continuity. He chuckles softly to himself, perhaps a little too romantically, as he notices how even the sun seems to linger, reluctant to depart from the company it has grown fond of throughout the day. As dusk blankets the market, lanterns flicker to life, casting a warm glow that envelopes the spaces once filled with vibrant colors. He shares a few jokes with fellow merchants, their camaraderie blending seamlessly with the day's labor, grounding him with a simple realization: the joy found in companionship, even amidst the harshness of life, whispers the truth that one is never truly alone. With the stars emerging one by one, the sky transforms into a canvas of twinkling lights, a reminder that the world extends far beyond the market's limits. Tales of caravans traversing vast deserts, traversing imposing mountains, and facing unexpected challenges come to mind, all underscoring the undying spirit of those who dare to dream. As he packs the remaining goods for the night, he lingers a moment, appreciating the clink of coins in his pouch, a soothing song of hard-earned profits. Enduring through the toil, he finds solace in the understanding that there is a rhythm to life, an ebb and flow, much like the tides he has heard stories of from sailors who dared to navigate distant shores. Returning home feels like stepping back into a cozy embrace. Shielded from the chill outside, he settles beside the hearth, the warmth soaking into his bones, drawing out the tension of the day. The aroma of a simple dinner wafts through the room, perhaps a stew flavored with the spices he sold, mingling with the laughter of his family, each bubble of joy rising like notes in a song. They gather around the low wooden table, sharing stories of the day, mirroring the fabric of life, the recounting of moments, both mundane and extraordinary. Children's laughter intertwines with tales of traders, daring exploits, and unexpected kindnesses from strangers. In this exchange of stories, both old and new, they find a collective heartbeat, a comforting rhythm that resonates through the flickering candlelight. As night deepens, he finds himself drifting once more into thoughts of tomorrow. The merchant knows that with each dawn comes the potential for new encounters, fresh trades, and perhaps a hint of adventure. The uncertainties of the Silk Road loom large in his mind, each merchant a traveler navigating the vast unknown, much like his own existence, filled with possibilities and pathways. When you find yourself nestled into your own soft bed tonight, remember the simple joys that pepper daily life, the warmth of home, the laughter of shared stories, and the tiny connections forged through brief encounters. You are in a different time, yes, but the spirit of humanity, its laughter, struggles, and quest for connection, remains unchanged. Indeed, consider how modern comforts like a sturdy roof and a cozy mattress promise you the sweetest of dreams, unlike the merchant's firm bedding of straw. As you let sleep weave its gentle threads into your dreams, carry with you the knowledge that the Silk Road may whisper tales of merchants and their treasures, but you, dear listener, possess treasures of your own, deep comfort, soft bedding, and a chance to wake each morning anew. With each breath you take, let go of the day's burdens, embracing the peaceful quiet that gathers around you, much like a warm embrace as you drift away into your own silk-laden dreamscape, where every adventure awaits you to discover once again. The merchant stirs to life with the first brush of dawn, the sun's light filtering through the cracks of his modest dwelling. Shadows retreat, yielding to the soft golden glow that heralds a new day. Rising from his bed of straw, he stretches, feeling the subtle creaks of his joints, reminders of both age and experience. The crisp morning air wraps around him like a thin veil, invigorating yet delicate, coaxing him out of his slumber and inviting him into the world outside. Today, his path lies toward the bustling market, an open expanse where colors and sounds collide in a vibrant tapestry, a stark contrast to the tranquility of his early morning solitude. The merchant dons a simple linen tunic, its fabric worn but softened by countless washings and a lifetime of wear. He steps outside, his feet meeting the rough cobblestones of the alley, their surfaces cool and unforgiving. He finds comfort in the familiar sensation, a grounding reminder of the journey he embraces day by day. As he walks, the air fills with enticing aromas, freshly baked bread, the sweetness of dried fruits, and the lingering scent of spices wafting from vendors who have risen early, much like himself. Each stand they set up becomes a miniature universe of its own, filled with treasures from lands both near and far. Hoping to entice passing travelers, they display their wares in vibrant hues, beckoning customers with promises of flavor and exotic experiences that can barely be replicated. The merchant pauses for a moment, observing the delicate interactions amongst fellow traders, an exchange of nods, the subtle language of bargaining that swirls through the air like a gentle breeze. He chuckles softly to himself, recalling a time when he was the novice, learning the delicate dance of negotiation, tiptoeing around prices with youthful exuberance. Time has granted him a confidence steeped in experience, he now strides purposefully, knowing well the intricacies of trade and the value of persistence. As he continues, he overhears snippets of conversation, the merchant of textiles boasting about his recent shipment of luxurious silk, brought all the way from the far reaches of the East. Another trader, his face weathered by sun and hardship, recounts tales of bandits lurking along the roadside, a grim reminder of dangers that sometimes accompany the thrill of commerce. These intertwining narratives float around him like echoes, whispers of lives lived at the margins, yet filled with richness and diversity. Upon reaching the market, he finds his designated space, a small corner surrounded by others who share his passion for trade. Each stall is a little kingdom, each merchant a sovereign of their own realm. The laid-out goods, the shimmering fabrics from Persia, the intricately made pottery from China, and the spices of India, serve as the currency of connection between culture and commerce. The merchant carefully arranges his own prized possessions, dried fruits, exotic spices, and trinkets collected from the high mountain passes that he has traversed. Each item holds a story, its origin and journey mirroring his own. As customers begin to arrive, they drift through the market like a flowing river, some rushing on errands, while others linger, captivated by the treasures before them. The jingling of coins punctuates the air as trades are made, an agreement reached, each exchange a symbiotic partnership between the seller and the buyer. The merchant observes, a quiet satisfaction forming in his chest as he engages in light banter and crafty encouragements to entice even the most reluctant shopper. Time ebbs and flows within the market, shifting like the sun overhead. The din grows louder, laughter mingling with casual shouts, creating a harmonious symphony of commerce. The merchant feels the warmth of belonging as he converses with familiar faces, vendors rich in their own tales, sharing in the ups and downs of their daily endeavors. In this environment, struggle becomes a shared experience, a benediction wrapped in camaraderie. As midday approaches, he takes a moment to catch his breath, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow as the sun climbs higher, casting a warm glow over the bustling scene. He watches as a child plays nearby, her laughter bright against the backdrop of bustling adults. Perhaps she dreams of one day becoming a merchant, her own aspirations swirling amidst the wares around her. He cannot help but smile, recalling his own childhood, caught in the waves of ambition that led him down this road, not so far removed from her innocence. Lunchtime breaks the rhythm. He sneaks into a small tavern, a cozy corner where the warm scent of stew envelopes him like a hug. Within its simple walls, he shares a meal with fellow merchants, swapping stories of distant lands and the myriad of peculiarities that come with them. One offers a tale about a particularly stubborn mule that refused to carry its load, a scene vividly laden with humor that invokes gentle chuckles around the table. Every story is a thread woven into their shared tapestry, each laugh solidifying the bonds of community. Refreshed and recharged, he returns to the marketplace, ready to engage again. The afternoon drags on, bringing along the inevitable ebb and flow of enthusiasm. With the sun practicing its graceful descent, shadows lengthen, stretching over the colorful stalls and the merchants within. He begins to feel the twinge of fatigue, yet it is a familiar kind, one that signifies a day well spent amidst both toil and triumph. As he recounts his sales, mentally piecing together what he has gained and what remains unsold, the merchant reflects on the lives of those whose purchases adorned their homes or palates. It is this thread of connection to others that fuels his work, remembering how even a single spice can weave together a family dinner or a hand-carved trinket can illuminate a moment of joy. As dusk approaches, the market begins to hum with a different energy, the flicker of torches lighting the stalls, casting a warm glow over the remnants of the daylight. He surveys the day's earnings, squeezing the coins in his palm, grateful for the opportunities presented to him. Despite the light-hearted jests shared throughout the day, he knows that success is often a fragile thing, hinging on the unpredictable whims of fate and fortune. When the day finally concludes and he returns home, he finds solace in the quiet of the evening. The warm glow of the hearth welcomes him, drawing him back to that cocoon of family and contentment. Dinner is a humble affair, but filled with the vibrant flavors he has brought home, tiny, tangible pieces of the day's work. They sit together, cups filled with fragrant tea, laughter bubbling forth as stories of the market are shared, echoing the joy of connection. And as the stars begin to twinkle in the vast expanse above, the merchant prepares for the soothing comforts of sleep. Each day on the Silk Road holds its own trials and tribulations, yet the simplicity of a hot meal and a loving exchange brings great peace. With his head nestled into the soft confines of his straw bedding, he recalls the merchant of textiles, the stubborn mule, and the laughter of a child playing amidst the stalls. Dreams unfold like the silks of faraway lands, whispering tales of trade and the unfurling possibilities of tomorrow. And with those thoughts, he drifts into a peaceful slumber, wrapped in the knowledge that with each new dawn will come fresh opportunities, a chance to navigate the winding pathways of life, side by side with countless others who share in this ancient dance of trade. Indeed, as you rest tonight and take comfort in your own warm bed, think fondly of those who navigated the complexities of life long before indoor heating and personal suites became the norm. With a steady stream of thoughts accompanied by the soothing rhythm of your breath, drift blissfully on the currents of dreams, forgetting the worries of tomorrow. As you close your eyes, know that you rest in a generation blessed with the bounty of centuries of human endeavor and ingenuity. In your own comforting world, every star above holds the whispers of countless lives before you, each sound an echo of resilience, just like those vibrant merchants who thrived amid the sprawling expanse of the Silk Road. Each night connects you to the past, reminding you that you are part of an ongoing story that intertwines with many others, an adventure waiting to be explored, even if it beckons only in dreams. And who knows? Perhaps in a vivid dreamland, you'll find yourself bargaining deftly amongst vibrant fabrics and shimmering silks, smiling as you traverse the roads of possibility, wrapped in a cloak as fine as the softest dreams you may never forget. As you settle deeper into your own soothing bed, realize that in many ways, you have already reached your destination, cozy, sheltered, and at peace, just as those merchants found a fleeting moment of fulfillment in the journey of their lives. The soft glow of dawn begins to creep across the horizon, illuminating the gentle hills that cradle the merchant's small caravan, nestled within the folds of the land like a hidden treasure. The air is cool, tinged with earthy scents of damp soil and budding flowers. Awakening from his peaceful slumber, he stretches, feeling the stiffness of a body that has spent too many days on the road, yet invigorated by the promise of the day ahead. As the light expands, it reveals the sight of his companions rousing from their sleep, their movements deliberate yet calm. From the gentle rustle of a worn blanket being pulled aside, to the cautious shuffling of feet finding purchase on uneven ground, every sound blends harmoniously into the lull of morning. There is a sense of purpose in the air, an unspoken commitment to the adventure they collectively share. With the sun rising steadily, he reaches for a simple breakfast, a piece of flatbread left over from the previous evening, perhaps paired with a modest serving of yogurt, thick and tangy. Each bite serves as a reminder of the simplicity and sustenance that fill the bellies of those who traverse the Silk Road. It offers comfort, a small moment of solace, before they embark on the winding paths ahead. As he tidies his belongings, he takes a moment to survey his merchandise, the carefully bundled silks, each one possessing a unique hue reminiscent of the vibrant markets they come from. The lively reds, gentle blues, and earthy greens engage in a colorful conversation. They reflect stories of artisans who labor for hours, sewing their dreams into fabric that will traverse the world, enduring the test of time and trade. The trader's gaze falls upon his beloved mule, a humble creature whose dependable nature has seen him through many challenges. The mule stands patiently, ears flicking back and forth, as if eagerly listening to the secrets of the morning. With tender hands, the merchant gives the mule a scratch behind the ears, the animal responding with a soft bray, an acknowledgement of their shared companionship. Together, they form a bond of mutual reliance, two travelers navigating through an unpredictable world. With supplies packed and plans formulated, they set forth on their journey. The wheels of the cart creak, a comforting sound that accompanies the rhythm of their pace. As they weave through gentle valleys and sun-drenched hills, the landscape unfurls like a tapestry, rich in shades of green and gold. The distant outline of mountains looms majestically in the background, standing as steadfast guardians of the trade routes they travel. The lulling cadence of hoofbeats and wheels provides a tranquil symphony that soothes the mind. A soft wind stirs, rustling through the leaves of nearby trees, whispering promises of good fortune to come. Each gust invites the merchant to reflect on the multitude of lives intertwined along this crucial artery of commerce. There is something poetic about their journey, the way these trade routes crisscross the continents, each juncture a meeting of cultures and ideas. They encounter fellow travelers, a spice merchant here, a dealer of precious stones there, exchanging pleasantries and tales of their experiences. There is an unspoken recognition shared among them, they are comrades in a grand narrative of human connection, even if their paths diverge like flowing rivers, each carving its own unique story. As midday approaches, the sun reaches its zenith, casting a golden glow across the landscape. The merchant halts for a brief pause, relieved to stretch his legs and take in the scene. He rows the cart to a nearby brook, its bubbling water lapping at the stones with an inviting melody. Here, barefoot and free, he dips his toes into the cool water, feeling a soothing relief spread through his weary body. The sight of fish darting gracefully adds brief entertainment, momentarily distracting him from the pressing weight of commerce that rests upon his shoulders. Another merchant joins him by the water, a jovial fellow with round cheeks and a fast smile. They share a light-hearted exchange, discussing the challenges of the road. The subject turns to the ever-rising costs of tolls and taxes imposed by the many overseers who linger along the trade routes like shadows, always lurking, always watching. While tales of their burdens might elicit a chuckle, it also serves as a reminder of the delicate balance they each strive to maintain, between profit and loss, between risk and reward. After a short rest, laughter soon fades into the routine of the journey once more. As they rejoin the road, the gentle undulation of the terrain marries with the hum of camaraderie, and with each turn, an air of quiet determination carries them forward. Their aspirations, marked by the weight of their goods, echo softly in their hearts, images of fortunes beckoning from afar. With the afternoon sun inching toward evening, the air cools and shadows lengthen. The merchants draw nearer to a bustling caravanserai, a stopping point along the route, where traders from various cultures converge. The sight brings a tinge of excitement, their hearts quicken at the thought of potential negotiations, the scent of fresh bread wafting from the kitchens, and the curious din of diverse languages, merging into one vibrant hub. As they pull up, the warmth of the traders' camaraderie envelopes them, each exchange a small thread woven into the larger fabric of life on the Silk Road. Laughter and bartering blend harmoniously with the clinking of coins and the occasional crackle of a campfire. The merchant exchanges goods, allowing the glimmering silks to dance under the light of the setting sun, perhaps bartering for spices that will enhance his next meal or a sturdy new saddle for his beloved mule. Within the lively atmosphere, stories unfold, illuminating the depth of shared experiences. Tales of the many wonders met on the journey fill the air, exotic markets rich with color, treacherous mountain passages and the unyielding spirit of the caravan that perseveres against the odds of nature. A sense of belonging envelopes them, a quiet but intense reminder that they are but humble cogs in a vast machinery driven by ambition, curiosity, and resilience. As night descends, a sense of tranquility blankets the bustling caravanserai, lanterns flickering warmly in the late evening haze. The merchant finds a soft place among the gathering, seated beside an ageless storyteller whose voice dances like a gentle breeze, whispering softly of legends both rise and fall along these ancient paths. He listens intently, surrendering to the rhythm of the tale, letting it wash over him like a velvety cloak. Each syllable paints vivid images of caravans traversing the desert, laden with both tangible treasures and intangible dreams. He chuckles quietly at the absurdity of certain mishaps, each seasoned with a touch of humor that alleviates the burdens of even the most grueling journeys. As the stories flow, making their way to the ears of fellow traders, a comforting realization settles in: their lives are tied together in an endless exchange of knowledge and fabric, much like the very silks he carries. Each merchant, a thread bearing its own narrative, woven into the grand tapestry of humanity that this road has birthed across ages. Ultimately, the storytelling winds down, softened by the hum of camaraderie. An ember glows softly in the fire, while the stars twinkle above, as if they themselves listen with rapt attention, holding the echoes of every shared joy and adversity in their shimmering embrace. Nestled within this soothing ambience, our merchant closes his eyes, letting the strains of laughter and shared memories ease his thoughts. He dreams, perhaps, of his next venture, a bustling market thrumming with excitement or the challenge of bargaining for the next treasure to share with his community. Each dream serves as a balm to the burdens they have endured, reminding him that tomorrow, like the sun, will rise anew. In the calm of this serene night, as the sounds of sleep take over the caravanserai, you too may reflect on the stories that weave through the fabric of your own life. You might consider how each day brings its unique challenges and rewards, and with every sunset, you get the chance to start afresh. Unlike the merchants of old, you need not seek a camel to navigate the roads ahead. The only baggage you carry is the soft embrace of your pillow and the warmer embrace of your bed. As the depths of slumber draw closer, take a moment to appreciate how far you've come, the roads you've traveled, and those tiny silks of memories that adorn your life. Just as our merchant rests tonight under a sky filled with possibilities, you too can allow your thoughts to drift and soften, finding solace in the rhythm of your breaths, recognizing that each day is but another step along your own silk road of existence. Perhaps one day, you'll awaken to find stories nestled in your heart like hidden treasures, waiting to be shared over a warm meal. Until then, enjoy the journey, for you traverse your own path through this beautiful tapestry of life, one gentle breath at a time. As the night winds down, and the world quiets further, you might find comfort in knowing that the merchant, tucked safely in his dreams, is reminded that he is part of something larger than himself, just as you are, enveloped in your own warm cocoon of comfort, where dreams weave a fabric of serene adventures as well. In the soft embrace of slumber, you may discover that perhaps the simplest joys can become the most precious memories, the gentle kiss of a loved one goodnight, the warmth of a favorite drink held close, or the comforting simplicity of a quiet evening spent in reflection. This is your Silk Road, lovingly paved with the moments that carry you forward, night after night, dream after dream. The merchant, having wandered far from the comfort of familiar landscapes, pauses, allowing the night's enveloping silence to wash over him like the gentle waves of a midnight sea. Surrounded by the soft rustle of the caravan's resting camels, lulled by the rhythmic sounds of nature, a deep sense of peace settles over him. In this tranquil refuge, there's little to divide today from the contemplative silence of yesterday and the fresh hope of tomorrow. As the last embers of his fire flicker and fade, he reflects on the day's labors. Each stretch of the Silk Road possesses its distinct character, like the many hues of a tapestry. One day, he might traverse the gentle slopes of valleys, where the air is filled with the sweetness of blooming flowers, and the next, the stark aridity of the desert, where the sand shifts underfoot, whispering secrets of ancient travels. Each landscape tells a story, and as he lies beneath the stars, he is lulled into deep thoughts by the traces they leave upon his mind. In the morning, after a restful slumber, the merchant rises to the sense of breakfast cooking, grains simmered carefully, the warm aroma of flatbreads baking in the sun, and earthy lentils nourishing the body. His fellow companions, still wrapped in their own layers of sleep, occasionally stir, their dreams lingering like traces of smoke in the air. He smiles gently, thinking that perhaps they are dreaming of golden fields, bustling marketplaces, or grand cities like Samarkand, where vibrant cultures converge like threads upon a loom. With the sun slowly climbing the horizon, spreading soft rays of pink and orange across the sky, the merchant begins to prepare for the day's travels. He checks his wares, carefully arranging silk and spices, items coveted by far-off lands. Each piece carries a story, a fragment of life from a distant place, carefully selected and transported with great care. The silk, so delicate against his fingers, has an air of mystery. It has traveled far from the silkworms of China, where they spin their cocoons in serene gardens. He packs these treasures as if tucking away the day's worth of memories, reminiscing about their origins. There's always a certain pride in knowing the tale behind each item, the journey they've taken before they land in the hands of those eager to possess them. As he secures everything in its place, he cherishes the notion of connection that these goods create, a bridge from one culture to another, a shared language spoken across miles. Once on the road, the merchant is met by a familiar sight. The caravan, a symphony of life, rolls forth in orderly fashion. Each merchant, like a note in a song, brings their unique melody as they travel together under the ballroom of the boundless sky. The merchant walks beside seasoned friends, whose laughter carries a sense of camaraderie that warms his heart more than the sun. They share jokes, sometimes with a hint of dryness, about the misadventures experienced on this great road. "Ah, if only we could hitch a ride with the wind," one might chuckle, while another reflects how riding the desert currents is both a blessing and a curse, yearning to glide over sand with the same ease afforded to the birds above. With the sun fully risen, casting its golden glow on the earth, the group approaches the first oasis of the day. Here, life flourishes in a way that feels magical against the stark backdrop of the surrounding desert. Date palms sway gently, their fronds rustling like soft whispers, inviting them to pause and refresh. The allure of crystal-clear water reflecting the sky's azure hue calls to weary travelers, inviting them to drink and replenish their spirits. Much like the merchant and his companions, this oasis has become an integral part of the Silk Road's fabric. Stories of past travelers echo in its stillness, and for a moment, time stands still, allowing them to bond over shared experiences. As laughter fills the air, it melds with the birds above, creating a delightful serenade. There are tales of mishaps involving spilled spices, lost camels, and poorly negotiated trades, all recounted with humor that dances lightly, like the sun upon the water. As they sip cool, refreshing water and break their fast in the shade, the merchant gazes out into the shimmering distance. He remembers that each merchant they encounter along the way comes with their own tales of triumph and loss, woven together like threads in an intricate fabric. These narratives, filled with hopes and dreams, are perhaps the most treasured aspects of the journey. He finds comfort in knowing that each footstep on this winding path leads to new stories yet untold, quietly waiting to blossom like flowers after the rain. With spirits renewed, the caravan sets off once more, the rhythm of their movement as steady as a heartbeat. The merchant walks at a leisurely pace, absorbing the sights and sounds around him. The sun climbs higher, casting warm, golden light over the landscapes, creating a dreamlike quality that captivates him. Dust swirls in patterns around his feet, and he takes a moment to wonder quietly at the life beneath it, all the tiny creatures scuttling and burrowing, the seeds patiently waiting to sprout. As the sun begins its descent into the horizon, painting the sky in pale apricot and deep lavender, the merchants find themselves making their way to their destination. A bustling marketplace awaits them, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds, ever rich with life. The murmur of voices, the clinking of coins, and the rustle of fabrics create an all-encompassing atmosphere of anticipation. For the merchant, this chaotic blend forms a symphony that feels oddly soothing, much like the rhythmic ebb and flow of waves. Arriving at the market, a cacophony of stalls unfurls before him, each a small world unto itself. The vibrant palettes of spices, reds, yellows, and greens, spill from woven baskets like a painter's palette of fragrant colors. Silks hang in delicate cascades, shimmering with the allure of possibilities, inviting curious fingers to wander across their smooth surfaces. He knows that here, amid the bustle, each transaction is a quiet testament to human connection as stories and goods are exchanged like sacred gifts. As the day wears on and traders haggle over prices, sharing good-natured banter reminiscent of old friends, the merchant reflects on the rhythm of commerce. There is an art to negotiation, each participant knowing that beneath the playful sparring lies mutual respect. You offer me 5. I respectfully return with 10, and with gentle smiles and laughter, they eventually find a middle ground that suits both, a dance that speaks of centuries of learned behavior. After a successful day of trading, the sun begins to dip below the horizon, and the sky darkens, inviting a tapestry of stars to emerge. The merchant has procured precious goods to carry forward on his journey, and his heart is light with the promise of new adventures. As he returns to the caravanserai where he stored his belongings, the soft glow of lantern light spills over from various doorways, each revealing the warmth of shared stories and laughter, an echo of home. Gathered around the fire that night, he listens intently as others recount the day's events, some amusing, others sad, but all woven into the greater narrative of their travels. Meals are shared, rich with spices that have now crossed borders, a testament to how one can find threads of familiar warmth in every faraway land. He smiles as someone, perhaps a little too well-fed, jokes about the proverbial crown of a fattened goat, lightening the mood further. This shared humor serves as a balm, a way to bridge the realms of hardship and joy, giving everyone the chance to laugh, sigh, and dream. As sleep approaches, the merchant wraps himself in woven blankets, the fabric whispering tales of its own. He reflects on the simplicity of the past day, each moment rich and layered like the folds of silk. There is beauty to be found in the mundane, and in the journeys that, while hard and often arduous, carve the spirit of their lives like a master artist's hands shape clay. So, as the hearth's warmth glows softly beside him, he finds comfort in knowing that tomorrow, like a new silk thread, will continue to weave itself into the fabric of his life. There will be challenges, yes, but also moments of laughter and shared connection. There's a certain peace that comes with understanding that every merchant on the Silk Road carries not only wares but an abundance of stories, woven beautifully through the tapestry of time. And now, as the tranquil night wraps around him, he knows that come what may, as long as there are journeys and there are friends, the road will always lead back to laughter, sustenance, and the promise of tomorrow. You may, too, in this gentle embrace of darkness, find solace in knowing that while the trades of life may ebb and flow, they always carry you forward toward the waiting dawn, resplendent with new opportunities like threads ready to be spun into something magnificent. So, as you lie in the comfort of your own space, consider how in your own life, each day is akin to a treasured item collected along your journey, each moment significant, each experience a delicate silk thread binding you to the greater narrative of existence. As the sounds of the night lull you gently, may you dwell in tranquility, warmed by the knowledge that you travel your own path, one soft breath guiding you deeper into restful sleep. Just as our merchant settles down for the night, may you bask in the quiet joys of modern comfort, remembering that each day is a promise of discovery. And when sleep calls to you, with its